I had to recognize that a part of myself, a part of who I am, a part that really defined me a lot, a part that was once my pride a little bit as well, doesn't serve me anymore. Hey guys, how's everything going? How you are doing? Wherever I am in the world right now, it is extremely, extremely hot. I am not home, I'm somewhere else. You might also call that place home if you will. But yeah, I mean, guess where I am. I'm gonna make a video about all of that anyway, about where I am and what's currently happening. I want to just share, another one of my recent realizations that I've made, that you just keep on making as you grow up. And yeah, basically change, growth itself, and just, realizing and understanding and accepting that what may have worked before may just not work anymore. It just may not serve you anymore. I think our behaviors are a lot of times guided by coping mechanisms that we've adopted at one point as a child or in our adolescence, and it is very, very important to recognize that and just let it go. So let me tell you guys a story about myself and just give you guys an example of the aspect of myself that I've recently realized I had to let go of that. A huge trait or a huge thing that, defined me up until now was the fact that I've been very independent, and I now call it hyper independence. I think at a point in my youth, I was in a place where I probably decided that I only had myself to rely on. And that's because people and families, most especially around me, affirmed me through their actions that that was the case. And I'm no more resentful anymore about any of that. I don't hold any grudges anymore, but that just was my perception at the time, that I just only have myself to depend on. And what came with that is that I started telling stories to myself that reinforced that perception and started slowly started creating beliefs within myself. So, and among the things that I've told myself was that all I got is myself, no one is there for me, and no one will help me or support me anyway. These are literally the things that I just started telling myself these kind of things, and that reinforced that belief. I most likely started creating this belief system, which then facilitated this hyper independent person that I became. And do you know what it means to be hyper independent? This is what it means: not asking for help, not accepting help, not expecting help, not trusting the help that other people offer because you fear that it will be used against you. And you end up always being in survival mode, busy ensuring your own survival because you assume that no one will be there to catch you anyway when you fall. And what ended up happening is that I kind of just started living for myself and just, isolating myself a lot of times. And it ended up being a thing where was I just was alone with my own problems, and I let myself to be alone with my own problems. I would also actually push people away who may have been interested in helping me if I'm really, really honest with myself. What's important to mention is, I've moved out of my parents' house. I've moved out to live by myself already from a very young age. I was only 17 years old due to circumstances. I've also moved to uni. So I studied in a different country than I was raised in. So I moved to the different country and also to the university in that different country all by myself as well. And all of that without any help, without anyone assisting me, anyone, accompanying me, just by myself. And usually, when people move into uni, they have their parents or their families who come with them, who send them off, who assist them in, decorating their dorm room, decorating their accommodation, and they bring them. And I remember to this day I was by myself with two of my luggages. I did everything by myself. I went to the that same day I arrived, I went to the mall by myself. I bought everything for my room, and I carried bags and bags all by myself. I remember as well, I bought the mirror, I carried the mirror. That day was even very, very windy. So it was even very dangerous to carry a mirror. But yeah, I carried the mirror by myself. Probably looked like a crazy lady. But yeah, the point is I did all of that by myself. And I'm saying this to highlight that I that was me being hyper independent, you know. I didn't ask for any help. I didn't expect help. I just handled all my problems by myself, even though it caused me so much stress. But another point about this is though that there was actually a time that this hyper independence did actually serve me and it worked for me, you know, and it's probably also something that I had to do in order to survive. So at a point, it kept me going, it kept me moving forward. But you know, the interesting thing that I've just recently observed is what happens is that, you know, needs change, like we change, people change, and our needs start to change as we grow. What may once have worked for you and have served your needs before may not work anymore or may not serve your needs anymore. For me, what recently really happened is in the past couple months is that I had to notice and realize that this mentality of hyper independence is starting to take a toll on me. And I realized that through the fact that I have been moving, you know, there's some movements I've been making, which I will still, you know, share more of that in a separate video. Yeah, and through those movements, I realized, you know what? I want help. I need help. I need people to help me. I don't want to do this by myself. I don't want to sit in these problems by myself. I need to share it with people. I can't just carry all of that by myself anymore. You know, it took a toll on me. You know, there's something about getting older where you just want to avoid stress at all costs. And there is a certain amount of stress that I just cannot tolerate anymore, and I am not willing to even tolerate it anymore. And another thing is that I've also been just starting to crave community and just more connection as well. You know, the thing about community is about helping each other and sharing about each other, you know, sharing problem. There's this saying that a problem shared is a problem solved, and I've really learned the meaning of that saying in the recent months. That's what community is about, and that's just what I've been craving recently. So hyper independence, it doesn't work for me anymore. It puts me in a space now where I just end up being depressed, stressed, and lonely. And that's a state where I don't want to just be anymore. But I want you guys to really get the crucial point about all of this that I'm telling right now. And the crucial point is that I had to recognize this in the first place and accept this. I had to recognize that a part of myself, a part of who I am, a part that really defined me a lot, a part that was once my pride a little bit as well. I was proud of being so independent, doesn't serve me anymore. And to recognize that and accept that in the first place can be really difficult. You basically recognize that what was once your strength, and for me, my independence was once my strength, is now your weakness. And that's tough, you know, that's tough. That's ego crushing a little bit, you know. So I see how many people find it hard to change, because having to recognize that a part of yourself that once worked for you is now something that you may probably have to let go of. But that is just the paradox of change. Things may only work in a certain phase of your life or season, and might then turn out to be destructive in another phase or in another season. And the painful fact is that nothing in life is constant, nothing is permanent. Everything in life constantly changes, and I think the art of living life as well is to just learn how to go and adapt with the seasons. So accepting change can be hard because it requires you of finding new ways of being and new ways of living. So yes, it can be hard for many, and I think that this is why many people refuse to change. Dying to yourself is tough. And that part about change, letting go of old ways, is basically you dying to yourself. But I thought further and I observe things further. And on a societal level, though, we are currently learning this lesson again about, letting go of old ways, finding new ways of living, new ways of being, a certain way of doing things, a certain way of how we've been operating as a society. Example, excess use of fossil fuels, rigid work environments, rigid hierarchies in work environments. Little work life balance was once necessary and useful to bring society forward for industrialization. But those very things that once helped society to move forward, we now find is harmful to society and the environment because needs change and the seasons change and the phases change. We are now in a different phase of life, in a different phase of the world, in a different phase of society. Depression and burnout are more prevalent than ever because people are overworked and tired, and the environment is deteriorating. These ways of doing things, the use of fossil fuels, producing at the cost of the environment, rigid work environments, endless hours of work shifts within the week, it does not serve us anymore. This is why we now speak of concepts like new work or sustainable development. We are figuring out a new way of living as a people since the old way doesn't serve us anymore. And it's a natural thing though. It's the natural part of life because we are currently in the middle of change of the world. And I feel like a lot of people also get so scared and get anxious, but it's normal. It's normal that we enter different eras, different times, and we're currently just entering a different era. So it's natural to that things are changing. Another example also that I noticed is our lifestyle as a society. And keep that keyword seasons in mind. The year has seasons, right? At least the summer and the winter. So while during the cold seasons, autumn and winter, nature literally rest and go to sleep throughout, we carry on the same lifestyle of work, work, work and push through all seasons. And this winter, I particularly noticed that so many people fell sick, including myself. I felt sick a lot of times this winter. But yeah, also in the cold months, we tend to feel, sluggish and depressed. People speak of seasonal depression. But maybe it's because we are also meant to take a step back during the cold months. Maybe we also need to adjust ourselves a little bit, to the season of the year that we're in. Maybe we shouldn't push through and keep this same hustling mentality that we kept throughout the rest of the year. Maybe pushing through with the same hustling mentality, pushing through the cold months doesn't serve us, hence so many sicknesses, hence so many people are getting sick in the cold seasons. Maybe we as a society should also learn to go more with the seasons again and adjust our lifestyle a little bit. We should normalize change and embrace change. I think it's gonna make so much easier for everyone. But the point is that, change is part of life, and there may be just old ways that just don't serve you anymore, that just don't work for you anymore. And you will notice it if it starts to cause problems for you. And at that point, it's just important to recognize it and see it for what it is and accept that you may have to let it go. And that's all I want to tell you guys for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.